What is up, YouTube? Back at it with another video. Now, the video I was about to make today, just a couple tips for maybe some veteran players who might not know something, because I'm still learning lots of new stuff, and maybe all 10 of these tips are probably useful for a beginner player. Well, some of them are useful for end game players, but a lot of these are just general tips that I sort of thought of that I learned from other people. So, let's get on with the list, shall we? Now, number one, when you get done with the main story, and you feel like you don't really have anything to do, because I had three people come in my chat today at twitch.tv/room. I had 3 people come in my chat today, all saying that they were like level 20, done with the story, and had nothing left to do. And that just blows my mind, because the amount of shit you have to do in this game is absurd. So I've done all the side quests for the most part, but when you finish the game, you have a million side quests and you have a million exploration quests. So anytime you see a side quest, pick it up. It gives almost all of them give asteroid, almost all of them give XP, and they all give mats and credits. And some of them have unique rewards that unlock certain parts of the map, so maybe more chests, more gems. So make sure to do all your side quests, and your exploration quests unlock whole parts of the map, and they change views of the map. They make the map really pretty, and they also give a shit ton of XP. So make sure you do your side quests. Obvious one, but like, I shit you not, there's so many people who ask me, there's nothing to do, what the fuck am I supposed to do? And along with side quests, you can also max your data bank, because this is a grind. I have mine maxed, and the way I did that for the most part was you gotta grind to 15. It's rough, it's a grind, but you grind to 15, and by the time I finished story, I was around like, I was around like level 10 to 12. I can't remember exactly personally, but after you collect a bunch of echoes, you get to 15, and that's sort of your break. That's your break. Your mental load is lightened. Once you hit level 15, you just take your echoes that you've gotten and you just slap them in here and you just merge them all. Just do it at 15. It'll make your life so much easier, trust me, because it'll give you all the new 5-star echoes you haven't gotten. Every echo you get from that is going to be new unless you're extremely unlucky and get a dupe. At that point, that's a skill issue. All the echoes you get at level 15 will be new if you get a 5-star. And people say, oh, but you don't get the enhanced 5-star rate from level 18 at 90%. Just trust me. There's a couple other content creators who say the same thing. It'll save you so much time, because you're going to farm so many echoes in the vast sea of grinding that these echoes you get from this aren't gonna matter for the most part. Like, it's really not gonna matter. It's not a big deal. So just do that, get this shit done with, and boom, bing bang boom, you'll get your shit maxed, because 15 is the breakpoint. So just get 15 done. Another thing I would recommend, now this one's if you're a bit more endgame, but a lot of these tips are for the most part for post story, but some of these are useful for all people. But I would recommend just trying the holos. The holograms are extremely fun fights, and it'll get you over your fear of fighting a really hard fight. Just do the stage 1. I've done stage 3 of each, and in my opinion, it's the best content in the game. It is extremely fun, and I would recommend doing it to pretty much everybody. Everyone should try it, right? You should just try it, because if you hate it, you hate it, and you don't gotta do it. But it has a lot of rewards behind it, and Tower University also has a ton of rewards. So I'd recommend doing Tower University, but both of these are, for the most part, kind of endgame-ish. But make sure to do those. Just try them out. I would recommend just try them out. You don't have to do them, but just try them out. Tip number 2. All right, jump tricks. So, in case you don't know, in Wuthering Waves, you have a lot of different ways you can jump around. It's very simple, but there's a lot of different ways you can use it. So, tip number 1 is when you have no input on your direction, you just do a backflip. So there's that. You can do the little dash, but if you do the backflip, you can get a bit more of a linear jump backwards than you normally would. Now, you can't do this forwards because it's just a dodge, but the backward flip has a lot of uses that I'll show you in a sec. You jump, you grapple, you boom. So in case you didn't see what I did there, because it was all very fast. So pretty much you can jump to get more height, right? And then you grapple, and then you do that. So you can like do this. You can just do the simple shit. So when you do a jump attack, your character goes up slightly higher than they normally would. So like if you jump, my head kind of goes up to the little wood beam right there. Well, my angle is a little off. But if you jump, you go all the way up. to that big bar. And different characters have different jump heights. So if I can show you real quick. Gion, he jumps. His head's just taller, but they both jump around the same. Gion goes much higher. Almost to the top of the guy. Sign this guy up to basketball, because this guy can jump. But the jump height adds a little bit of height to your overall jump. Jump, grapple, aerial attack, and dash. Because you can cancel your jump with your dash. Like that. So you do your jump, dash. Do your jump, dash. So jump, auto, dash. And the way you weave it in is you jump, grapple, auto, dash. And then you just glide and you do your thing. And it seems complicated at first, but it gets very easy to get used to. This one, I actually thought was also pretty useful. So you see I can't climb this, right? Unclimbable. Now if I do this, if you hold S and jump, you will jump backwards. And I'll just show you real quick. So jump backwards. Okay, hold up. This is a little tricky, but I'm still learning it myself because I learned it recently. And I wanted to share it to people. So you go down, jump. So an otherwise unclimbable little obstacle right here, you can make pretty much trivial with the use of jumping backwards. Okay, my head, I know that was, okay, there we go. Boom. All right, so for some reason my head keeps getting bogged. But down, jump, dash, grapple. That's pretty much it. You have to kind of get used to it yourself. I'm still getting used to it, so I get it. I do get it. So when it comes to leveling your echoes, I've run into this problem myself, and I would recommend most people to not do what I did, because I kind of fucked up and I got very Gamba hungry. So when it comes to your echoes, I would recommend only leveling up to 20 for the most part, or even level 15 if you want to get really, really cost effective. Because the XP jump from 20 to 25 is exponentially larger than any other levels before. So, and the stat you get from it is not worth essentially the amount of XP you dump in, unless it's like a god to your relic. Or echo, sorry. So I would recommend not doing that. I've already invested a lot of, like, this is not worth 25 levels. I should have just kept this at 20, even 15. I should have 15 this. But it is what it is. I would save for any future potential insane relics you get. And it's just a lot of freaking XP, bro. Like, I would just recommend saving, chilling, doing your thing. So, kind of back to the data bank a little bit. Pretty much every single guide for every single character, save for healers, is going to be the exact same. It's pretty much every single time, for most people, going to be their elemental sort of set. So the arrow set on Gion, right? The arrow set on the arrow guy, the fire set on the fire guy. Not that difficult. The stats you look for are essentially always crit on the boss piece, and then elemental bonus on your 3 costs, and then attack percent on your 1 costs. And that's pretty much universal for most of the characters in the game, save for characters who either scale differently or are healers. And if you want to get a little meta with it, if you're running more techy, say specifically sub DPS, you can even put them on the Sonata set, which is the energy set of this game. Same thing for maybe like San Hua if you want to just like, you can mix it up a little bit with people who are your sub DPS. Whatever you want. But for the most part, one more time, and most builds in the game are going to be like the most used builds are usually 4 cost on your top, 3/3, 1/1. Unless you want, you can mix it up however you'd like. But this gives you your crit value, your double elemental, and your double attack, and it just all stacks together very nicely. Looks really pretty, and you make the most use of that 12 cost in the top left, which at this point of the game you probably know about. So that is going to be the most common build for echoes. Now, tip number 5, and this is one I actually learned about literally yesterday because I'm a silly Billy. But early on in the game, mistakes do happen, and it's better to make them now. And I'm making this guide so you don't make them at all. So honestly, you're welcome. So if we go here, boom, you see this little guy right here. Essentially, this right here, enhanced drop rate for target classes, Overlord, Calamity. So bosses, the weekly bosses. You only have 15 chances of enhanced drop rates for the bosses. So say you're farming, you're dreamless, you're just farming. Well, an example would be of how to use this poorly would be going around the map farming for mats for bosses you don't give a fuck about. So say you really want a dreamless for your Havoc Rover, who I would recommend building. I mean, free tip, Havoc Rover is insane. Build her, she's wild, and do the story so you can get her. But say you want to get dreamlesses for your Havoc Rover, but you also want weekly mats. The wrong order to do that would be do all your weekly mats and then Dreamless. That's the wrong way to do it because you use up all these chances. And the correct way to do it would be just do Dreamless first, use up all your chances, and then farm your weekly mats. Because any boss you kill, whether you like it or not, uses up this chance. And it resets weekly, so it's a very finite resource. And it's a resource not too many people talk about, and I'm glad Gotcha Smack made a video on it because he saved me. So this shit is fucking clutch as hell. So I would recommend this for anybody. Tip number 6. If you followed my previous tip of doing side quests and exploration quests, you will have this little tool called a loot mapper. And this thing is an absolute godsend. And I've had many people asking me in my chat how to, like, what this thing does, because people ask me, how are you seeing chests right now? And essentially this tool in your utility bar, it will show you all chests in the area, and it'll even tell you if you're above it or below it, which is really nice. So boom, this chest right there, see that little icon? So now I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna just sprint towards this little thing. Now there's a chest somewhere in here. It doesn't, okay, boom, it's like a hologram chest. Now this little chest right here is obviously the one that's been shown on the map. Tip number 7. This one I found out the wrong way. I found this not the wrong way. So if we go to the Tower Diversity over here, if you're already trying this, I recommend trying just all, I just recommend trying everything. Now, if you go in here, we see, I click on this, you know, setting up the party, and we see these little lightning bolts. And essentially, what I found out was the lightning bolts are your energy, and because I used my Havoc Rover too much, and she's sort of my carry, my Geon isn't as good as my Rover right now, surprisingly, even though I have his best in style weapon. I don't even know how that's possible, to be honest. But I can't use my Havoc Rover anymore for the boss because I accidentally used her too much in the other fights. So there's an energy bar for the Tower Diversity, so make sure you keep track of that. And I've been told that the Tower Diversity even weakens your resonators when you're in game. So the lower their energy, the less damage they do, but I don't know where to see that at. I've just been told that by a lot of people, but I don't know where to look at it in game myself. So just keep track of your energy, and I would recommend having 3 teams planned out in your head to build for, because none of us have 3 full teams. If someone has 3 full teams at this point, it's either because they're a whale or they need medical attention. One of the two. So we need just build towards 3 teams. Just think about it in your head. And I mostly just use 2 teams. I pretty much just have 2 teams right now. So pray for the best and just get some teams. All right, so tip number 8. Now, the Elusive Realm, it will seem really hard at first, but once you sort of experiment and do your own thing, it becomes much easier. So I'm just gonna go in here and I'm gonna look for a very specific rock. So what you're looking for, so you see these little metaphors. So there's these rocks, 2 rocks on each map is what I found. There's 2 of these little rocks. You can essentially smack these rocks and a metaphor might pop out. But you always get dream fragments. You will always pick up those dream fragments every single time. But there's pretty much 2 rocks, 1 to 2 rocks. So there's another rock right here. It's these specific ones with the red rock, by the way. Wow, I'm getting really unlucky. I always get a cat there. So see a cat here? Yep, there you go. So these cats spawn from the rocks, and it's pretty much just a free blessing, and you get a bunch of fragments from it. So I'll just make sure you do that. That's a little tip I got. So makes your run a lot easier because you can essentially double your blessings in an area. There was even a point I got 2 metaphors in 1 map. Now, tip number 9: if you're having trouble farming for your 1 costs, I really want to look at my 1 cost here because I really like this guy. So if you're looking for Old Fatty, this is my favorite echo in the game. Let me know what your favorite echo is in the comments. This is mine. Now, if you're looking for Fatty right here, you go over to your database and you scroll down right and you click this track button. So you click track and you hit detect. It just shows you the nearest one, and you can kill every single one on the map and just farm them. So I recommend this for anyone who's either 1, shiny hunting, if they change the shiny system in the future, which I really hope they do because the current shiny system is very bad. Jesus Christ, that was a tangent, but like, holy I plan on doing this for all my 3 costs for the most part because 3 costs are very annoying to farm for, and I don't feel like memorizing spawn points. So the detect feature is very nice, especially when you're like say databank level 17, and you're looking for your last 3 cost 5-star. So, hey, shit, that saved my life. Detect was awesome. Now, moving on to my next tip. If you're sort of finishing up on story, I sort of had the issue of having absolutely 0 1 costs specifically. Weirdly enough, I had the awful luck of having no 1 costs. So if we travel over here, and this is sort of leading off of tip number 9, you'll see why. Well, you won't see because I've already farmed it. But if you head over to the area we're about to go to, there's pretty much a plethora. And I'm talking like 25, 30 of these dudes. You go to the Forbidden Forest. Essentially, there's going to be this area. You'll see a million. This is my favorite area in the whole game. So you'll see the Tic Tac guys, and there's even a lot of the Tambourine 3 cost. So there's 4 Echoes. Essentially, the squads here there'll be 4 Tic Tacs and 1 Tambourine guy, and there's going to be like 6 of those squads. So you just kill them all, maybe get a couple 3 costs, and get a lot of 1 costs. So this area is great for beginner farming. And yeah, I mean, shit, that's all 10 tips. If any of these were useful to me, all 10 of these I use at this very moment. And I mean, shit, I hope y'all are enjoying the game. Let me know how you're enjoying it. Let me know if there's any weird tips that y'all found. And yeah, I appreciate y'all. Love ya.